me.
Yes.
Hello! So today is freezing cold and really windy. It's mid-November. The mushrooms aren't quite done yet. This is actually the time of year when the winter mushrooms start coming out. So today's goal is the best dessert mushroom you could ever ask for. Yes, there's a dessert mushroom. It is the candy cap. And guess what? I was first told candy cap doesn't grow in your area, Rachel. But guess what? I have proved that wrong. I have a friend coming along with me who also knows the secret to the candy cap. It's gonna be a fun day, but we're gonna have to bundle up. I'm gonna go bundle up. I'm freezing. Okay. Actually, you know what's funny is I put these on this morning because I knew it was gonna be cold, and I stuck my hand in the pocket and I pulled out this old crumbly mushroom, and guess what it was? Candy cap. Last time I was wearing these, I was hunting for candy cap. I think it's a good sign for today. All bundled up now, and I got my buddy here. Come on in. So Colin is maybe one other person I know who is self-taught mushrooms and more obsessed with them than maybe I am.
I lose sleep over mushrooms regularly.
You may remember in the episode I broke into his place to steal some mushrooms. Don't worry, he gave me the code. It wasn't technical break-in, but yes, he's one of the few people that I trust with exact locations, which is a pretty big deal. Yeah, pretty big deal. Him and his wife run Blue Bus Culture, which I love, and eat their stuff all the time. Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay.
We're bundled. We're gonna be warmer once we move. I thought I forgot my gloves, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna be so cold.
Oh, it looks like a giant russula. I'm gonna pop this out actually, because
Does it look so much like a matsutake?
it did. When I saw that part right there, I was like, oh dang, but no.
That like tan browning.
Yeah. So the candy cap mushroom is from the Lactarius family, but this is from the russula family. But they do have something in common: their cellular structure, which makes them snap and break really easy. Where most mushrooms, you have to peel them lengthwise. That's how their cells kind of grow, but these are circular. You can break it whatever direction, it just kind of snaps. But man, that looks super cool.
Yeah. It almost has this like green tinge to it.
It does. Wow.
And this is the mushroom that most commonly is parasitized by a lobster, right?
Yeah, it is.
I found lobsters in this little section right here.
Oh, nice. Yep, that makes sense. We don't want to be trashy.
No.
In fact, I will say that I know that I've gone into a trail the day after this guy because he replants his mushrooms that he doesn't take, and I pick them up and they're cut off, but they're just stuck back in the ground if he doesn't keep them.
I clean up after myself.
Yeah, I remember once Marcus found one and was so excited, and the way he pulled it up, I was like, dang it, it was cut.
That's funny.
Yep. Yeah, these you can eat. Surprised it's still in such good condition.
I've been seeing a lot of them and in good condition, and usually in amongst the candy caps.
Okay. Indicator species right here. I have never noticed that association. That's great. So you pay attention to all the details. What trees do you generally find candy caps around? Douglas fir.
Doug fir.
It seems to be the dominant one, but that makes sense.
That's all I have noticed actually Doug fir and maple.
Okay.
I've noticed right in that seam between.
That's where the maple syrup stems from?
Ah, interesting.
No, I know that's not true. Cool. We wish. So we call them Zeller's boletes a lot, but the actual true Zeller's bolete apparently is kind of rare.
Huh.
Because it was whatever it was, the original like genotype that was collected, and they named that. There's so much that looks like it, they're just kind of umbrella, oh, that's all what it is, and now it's like, oh, actually, this is like 7 different things.
Oh, wow.
I don't know, it's complicated.
Yeah.
When there's a mushroom and it has a whole complex, like what we're looking for. Lactarius fragilis complex, you'll likely see it that way. You have to figure out what actually grows in your area because it's likely not whatever that name is. I call it complexicated, like complicated, but
Sure.
complex. Complexicated. The spot is special to you.
Yep.
Why is it special?
Because it's the first place I positively identified candy cats.
Exactly, yeah. You always remember those places. Our journey to find candy caps is really similar. We were both told that they don't grow in this area, but we knew better. We wanted to do that, and so now you have multiple spots that are close to home that you go and you can find these, and it's amazing. Everybody thinks you have to go like to California to get these. Not true.
No.
Find them here. I love how many different bioregions are in the area, and when you live here, you get to know those areas and you know when to hit them and stuff.
Yep.
It's so cool.
Yep.
Okay, are we getting close?
Looks like it.
Okay, cool.
I always see this. Is this another Rasula?
Yeah, but that's a nice looking one.
That's like a, not the shrimp Rasula, right?
Okay, so the shrimps do look like, kind of like this. Have you ever tasted a mushroom to see if it's acrid?
I don't think I have.
Okay, I'm gonna test it first and I'm gonna make you try.
Okay.
Okay.
I just learned that I can chew them up and spit them out.
Spit them out, exactly. You always spit them out. So you just take a little bit. So ladylike. This is mild, so this one would be good to eat.
So
just chew a little bit on the tip of your tongue a little.
and
then spit
acrid, what is acrid?
Acrid is like, some people describe it kind of like hot peppery horseradish type. And it's not something that goes away, like it just means don't eat that mushroom. So obviously not every mushroom you can do this and like, oh, you can eat it, right? It's just the rustilas is what a lot of people do it with. So it's mild, like there's no burning or anything on your tongue, right?
I don't get any.
Right, so it's just mild. Yeah, exactly. So that means that you could take this one and eat it. Yeah, so, and actually with Lactarius it's the same. So with the candy cap, that's one way to try and distinguish it from some of the others, because there's so many Lactarius that look just like it.
Yeah.
And one thing is, especially on the coast, if you go to the coast, there's one there that is like burning hot as soon as it touches your tongue.
Wow.
So you can distinguish it that way.
Yeah.
And they're safe. The great thing is with Lactarius and Rusula, none of them are like so toxic that it's, it's a fairly safe practice. Yeah, this one's a little mushy, probably not good to take home to eat, but
can I see it?
Yeah, pretty mushroom. I'll at least put it in there. Yeah, so just with the Rusula family, which when you get good at identifying what genus that is, you can do a taste test, and if it's mild tasting, it means it's actually good to eat and edible. This doesn't go across the board with every single mushroom because there are toxic mushrooms that would kill you that taste pleasant in your mouth. That's just a test that you can use with Rusula specifically. So, tastes mild. It's a good one to eat. It's a little old, so probably not going to eat this one, but it's pretty. I'm going to put it in my basket anyways. Can we just go?
You can find them.
I can find them. Okay, let's go find them.
You are allowed.
They're right here. Oh my gosh, there's so many.
Yes.
Gloves are coming off, people. All right. Oh my goodness, this is so cool. Zach, do you see how many are in here?
You gotta be careful where you step.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Look at them. Oh, yay. Oh, I broke it a little.
Oh my goodness, there are a lot.
There are a lot.
Down there.
All in here.
Candy caps.
Okay, I wonder if they're gonna milk it all for us, because once it gets so cold, sometimes they don't milk at all, which is really hard to show as an example.
Would they milk later when they warm up?
I wonder. Yeah, okay, so what does that smell? Well, don't worry, I'll give you all the details, but yeah, okay, how would you describe the fresh smell of this? It's not maple syrup because that's only what it smells like when it dries.
Oh, intoxicating.
I don't know, yeah, what is that? It's really hard to...
It's very unique.
It is unique, so if you smell your mushrooms regularly, you're gonna understand when you smell this, you're like, okay, it's not your normal dirt and mushroom smell, right? There's something different to it.
I think I can smell a little bit of burnt sugar.
Yeah, okay.
Which is different than maple.
Oh my
but
gosh,
a little
these
bit
are
more
so beautiful.
Fresh.
They're very fragile, which Lactarius fragilis, you hear that, fragilis, it means fragile, which these technically are not those specific species, but they're sister species, still a Lactarius. What did we figure we think they are? Rubidus?
Rubidus.
Rubidus, yeah. All those fun scientific names always changing. But I do want to show you a couple.
There's some big ones.
Oh yeah, these ones that have a little bit of, oh wait, no, that's
They're
not
exuding?
milk. No, they're not. I was tricked. Okay, so you look at these. Is it in the sunlight okay, or do you want it out of the sunlight? So you might be looking at these and thinking, oh, I see those all the time. These are not your average little brown mushroom, okay? Please just don't go picking kind of these reddish brown mushrooms wherever you are and thinking that they're going to be candy caps. This isn't necessarily a beginner mushroom, I would say, right?
No.
Because there's so much it looks like this. It's got a cap, stem, and gills, and it's kind of brownish colored. That's really rough. That's really rough for a beginner to distinguish this from a variety of other things. Okay, so do you remember like 5 years ago, I think when I first started my website, and you left me a comment on my website that said we should collaborate on something someday, and you said, hopefully in your patch, not mine. But where are we right now? We're in your patch.
That's
yes!
funny. I don't remember that.
I do.
That's hilarious.
Oh man, there's that little patch right.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
my
yeah.
gosh.
They're all over.
Ah!
Beautiful.
Yes, so amazing. Oh my gosh, I can't even, you pull back the leaves and
Yep.
there's so many in here. This is so amazing.
So last year I hiked up here and I found one cluster of 3 growing out from this tree, and that was it.
That was it from last year?
But the year before that, it was more akin to this. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I've seen.
See? Look
oh
at that.
my gosh.
See? Look at all those.
Oh my goodness. Candyland.
Candyland.
Oh my gosh. There's so many in here.
This is really fun getting this excited with someone else who gets this excited.
I'm so glad.
Oh my goodness. This is the most I've ever seen in one spot.
Nice.
Okay, I gotta get a picture of that little cluster too.
This is a nice,
These are mature,
perfect
really
time
beautiful.
to pick these. I feel like this spot is so special because it's just this little tiny pocket. It's just right here.
So many other Lactarius species, their stems will, they can break easy, but they're not going to be this fragile. These ones are especially fragile because they're totally hollow on the inside. And you'll see these are kind of wet. It's because it is exuding liquid, but it's a little bit freezing out, and so it's not exuding as much as it typically would. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited! I love it too that they can come out this time of year because we're kind of close to like holiday season.
Yes.
And it's so like perfect because you get to try and make all these like desserty things with these.
I'm gonna make a candy cap pumpkin persimmon pie.
Oh my gosh, okay. That sounds amazing. There are so many. There are still so many. And a little bit goes a long ways. That's what's great. Don't worry, we'll talk about what to do with these later. This is one little brown mushroom you get to know. It's kind of brownish orange. I gotta get these back on. Oh my goodness, my fingers are frozen. Oh, this is beautiful. Oh my gosh! All underneath this log. They're like all tucked under there. Oh
Yes.
wow! Oh wow!
No other Lactarius, to my knowledge, has a lot of people use the term cat's tongue. I don't think it's not that sticky.
Orange rind.
Orange rind. I like salamander skin, but orange
salamander
rind might
skin,
be
that works.
orange peel. You can really see it on that one.
Yeah.
And because of that texture, I feel like it never, even if it's wet, it doesn't feel wet.
Yep, exactly.
It never feels slick. It always feels dry, even if it's wet outside. And that seems to be because of that texture that's on there.
Yeah, that's a really good distinction because the other ones that will look like that will not have that texture.
No, none of the lookalikes will have that texture on top.
Isn't this mushroom amazing? You really have to use all your senses. Yeah.
I find every time I pick one up, well, every time I start finding them and picking them up, I'm just rubbing one in my hand, feeling that texture.
Yeah. Nope, doesn't smell like it. It smells spicy.
Smells spicy?
Ugh, I got hair in my mouth.
It's too dry to tell if it's gonna exude.
I don't think that's a mushroom I should be I mean, it's not gonna hurt me if I spit it out. No, but smell it. It has like I expected it to be hot on my tongue because of how it smelled, actually.
What was the taste?
Nothing.
Ooh. Man, see that's another fine example of why it's so hard to identify, well, why you can't use one singular identification factor.
Yeah, they do look very similar.
It smells very different, but it also has a distinct, and if I was finding just those and I hadn't found candy caps yet, I don't think I would misidentify it, but I could see how someone would.
This was just a few feet away from where you found candy caps. You can find very similar looking mushrooms. This is another reason why I feel like candy cap's not really a beginner mushroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's just so many things that can look like it.
It has I get a little bit more of that chemically smell that you were talking about.
Okay,
But I agree. It's
I'm gonna put a couple of these in a separate bag and bring them home.
Because it has a little bit of texture on it. It's a little bit more sticky. It has the little umbo, but then it has a little point in it too. Umbo is when it goes in, right? These are all the same, that same
yeah, and I'm just surprised they're hollow and they're fragile and...
They're generally bigger.
Yeah.
Have you cut one? Did you?
Yeah, some of them were exuding liquid. Oh, this one's not as
And
hollow.
it looks more like...
pithy.
It looks more like milky than skim milky.
Yeah. So, yes, Lactarius. They exude milk. The candy caps is going to be more like skim milk that you can see through. And then other Lactarius might be more like thick whole milk. Oh, hey, that's a great example of, you see the milkiness? That's like paste, like, glue.
Half and half.
Yeah. And Lactarius mushrooms can exude all sorts of different colored liquids. Some orange, blue, purple. White is the most common. Yellow is probably next most common. So candy caps, skim milk. Think skim milk or, this is just, very much white. The great thing is Lactarius is not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
But it's just not going to be any good. Well, we'll see about that. We'll see. Okay, so Colin is trying to catch a mushroom on fire. Not himself though, not really catch it on fire. But because it's only when the candy cap is dry that the really strong maple scent comes out. So sometimes if you put a lighter up to it, you can get to smell that mapley smell. So right now he's doing it to one of the look-alike mushrooms. I'm gonna see if we can get a different smell out of it or not.
I'm gonna hand it to you. Ready?
Okay. Smells like burnt mushroom.
You're right. Not like burnt sugar.
Here, grab one of these. Get it.
Oh yeah, very different.
Let me see. Oh yeah, this is like you're baking and you burnt something. That's what my kitchen smells like.
It's definitely not. It's not so obvious doing it this way that you would know.
No.
100% sure. It's still kind of fleeting.
As soon as you start to dry your candy cap, I remember just like putting it on a windowsill in a bedroom once, and within like 2 hours, even walking in and going nearby it and being like, oh wow, yeah, I can already smell the maple coming out of it. You know, or even putting it in your pocket and the next day, you realize like your whole outfit smells. It's frozen. Not surprising. The very first time I ever found candy caps, they're frozen stiff like this. And so I didn't know for sure if they were them until they thawed out and started drying, and I smelled the maple syrup smell. Oh, it's awesome. Wow, it's cold. All right, candy cap recap.
Candy cap recap.
Yeah. All right, so the mushroom that we found today is candy cap. Lactarius rubidus. Yeah, did I say that okay? Mm-hmm. Sure I did. Why not? All right, but you may be more familiar with it as Lactarius fragilis. So Lactarius is a very large genus of mushrooms. Nothing in there is toxic and gonna like kill you, which is fantastic. Lactarius mushrooms, when you break them open, they exude a milky latex. So with the candy cap, the ones we found today were pretty cold because most of the stuff is frozen right now. So they weren't exuding a whole lot, but it is like a skim milk latex that comes out. So really like watered down latex. So it kind of like spit, I would say. Maybe more like spit because it's like slightly
spit
colored.
after you drink some milk.
Yeah, maybe like that. So if you're finding mushrooms that look like these and you crack them open and it's like white, just like, you know, Elmer's glue white, not gonna be your candy cap mushroom. They are little brown mushrooms. What can I say? They have gills. They have white spores. We talked about the feeling on the top of the mushroom being kind of like orange peel feeling, salamander skin is what you said. I liked that. It does have a distinct scent, but it is very hard to describe. But it just smells different.
Distinct.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's very nice.
But the beautiful thing about these is once they start drying, that is when you get the most delicious, wonderful, sweet aroma from them, kind of a mapley aroma from them.
And that you can't mistake.
No.
Once it starts drying,
Seriously.
you will know whether you have a candy cap or not.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And just like we were, it's so exciting the first time it starts to dry and you're like, oh my gosh, I smell it, I know it's actually it. It's so good.
And it lingers for a long time.
Yeah, I've had like little crumbs in this one jacket pocket for like 2 years and the jacket's still like put it on wafts out, like this aroma of this wonderful mushroom. And yes, it is a dessert mushroom. You can use it in desserts. What ways have you had it before?
Lots of desserts. Shortbread cookies, bread pudding, ice cream.
Ice cream, I've had it in ice cream, yeah.
It's going to go in pumpkin pie this season.
Yes.
And then in a balsamic
oh
vinegar
yeah, and
reduction.
I've had that you've made.
Yeah,
you made it yourself.
That's delicious.
Tell us what that is a little more.
So balsamic reduction, just boiling balsamic vinegar down to pretty much half of what it was originally, and then powdering the mushroom and adding that at the time where I turn the burner off, because I don't want to. The aromas are what's most prized with the candy cap, right? And when you boil things, you volatilize what's there, so you could just cook off all of that aroma. So add it right at the end, and then strain it out and have it on top of salad. On top of ice
really
cream.
Good. I've had it.
It's really sweet. It's
amazing.
And yeah.
Oh, so good. So when you dry your candy caps, you want to dry them slowly. Lower temperatures are great. Yeah, even just having it in a well-ventilated room, maybe with a fan in front of it, it might be all you need. These ones today are fairly dry because it hasn't rained in the last few days, but do be careful that they can mold if you go too slow on the drying process. So keep them, well separated from each other as they dry out. Then after they dry, you can keep them for years.
I think they almost benefit from, like right away they might not have that much of a smell, but then you put them in a big glass jar and seal it up, for a couple months, and then you smell it, and it kind of intensifies.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And drying it and then powdering it, that's really kind of the main way to use it. There are other variety of things you can do with it still whole, but I feel like powdering it, you get a little bit goes a long ways.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think a tablespoon of the powder I use to flavor like a whole quart of ice cream.
Whoa, actually that's impressive.
Yeah. And it was very distinct flavor.
Any helpful hints for people looking for candy caps?
I seem to notice that they grow in wet areas, like more wet. They seem to like a mossy ground cover, and out of well rotting wood.
Yeah.
Almost always out of really well rotted wood. Even like out of it, literally.
Yeah, I've seen it growing right out of it. Or even if it's not attached to the wood, it's attached to some kind of like fibrous, woody debris that's on the ground. And today, definitely, we saw association being near the Douglas firs. It was really strong here. And so wherever you guys live, it could be different, because there are candy cap varieties all over. So you need to learn what tree associations and maybe what varieties. There could be a slightly different look to your candy cap and what time of year. Ours come out after the first couple of strong frosts. We're like, yes, candy cap time. We can go out and look for them. But I do know, like East Coast, the season is totally different for when the candy caps are going to be coming out. So that's for us here, kind of our Pacific Northwest, our Washington zone that we live in. Could be different for you guys. What else?
Don't be discouraged. The whole aroma, especially when they're fresh, can be fleeting, and sometimes you don't really smell it. Sometimes it doesn't smell much. Even sometimes when they're dried, if you dry them too quickly, you might not smell it.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I feel like one day I smell it, and the next day it's not nearly as strong. So don't be disheartened.
Yes.
The candy cap will speak to you.
And always be looking for it. You're probably going to find a whole lot of stuff that looks like it first, but then one day you can be pleasantly surprised by coming home with a pocket full of candy caps for the first time. It's pretty amazing.
And your jacket will smell like that for the next 3 years.
Yes, it's true.
Comment below.
Please leave us a comment. You can leave them for him too. Or for the guy behind the camera who's editing. Or for me. Leave us some comments. Let us know other things maybe you'd like to see or learn. And what else? Subscribe. Hit the like button. We like the like button. That's pretty cool. Right. Also, go find some of his stuff and eat it. It's wonderful. That was so dumb. I feel so dumb doing that.
Perfect.
All right, I gotta do the weird stuff and then I gotta get you. Oh, I have to turn it on myself to get a picture of me. That's okay. Here, I'll let you hold it. Will you aim it at me? Yeah. Oh, you got it. This is really good. It totally captures it. Thank you. It's really hard to get the flavor. You got these from Colin, didn't you?
Yeah. Awesome. Want donuts? I make donuts.
Make donuts. And what do you do with these lovely donuts?
I put candy cap mushrooms in my donut frosting.
Where'd you get them from?
I got them from Colin.
Did he tell you where you got them from?
He did not tell me where he got them.
No surprise. Awesome. Well, they're wonderful.
Thank you so
much. Sorry.
What do you think of that? Haley makes delicious donuts, and she tries to use local ingredients as much as she can. I love mushrooms, and I love candy cap mushrooms, and I know that they're really good with sweet things. So I gave her a small bag of mushrooms, and I said, see what you can do with this. And she made candy cap donuts. and they're delicious.
And they're delicious. And so is all this. This is all your stuff.
Yeah.
Shiitakes from Neil.
Shiitakes from Neil, and everything we make is vegan. And kimchi typically has fish sauce in it to give it like that nice, deep, earthy funk. So I thought, why not use shiitake mushrooms instead?
Awesome.
So I dried them first and then added them to concentrate the flavor.
Excellent. I'm just going to show favorite things.
Favorite things.
Favorite things.
Oh Lord, I see what brings me here. It's a mother to all